Hi everybody, this is Dennis and I'm going to be doing the full review of something epic. First issue from Image Comics. Szymon Kudranski wrote and drew it. If you had seen my quick flip, you might be here from there. This one looked really interesting. Basically the sell on it was that imagination is real. Outside of our perception, creative thought, and we get to take a look at it. Creative thought takes physical form with only a handful of individuals known as epics, able to interact with the wondrous hidden world. But for our 14-year-old Danny Dillon, accepting these responsibilities himself will not be an easy or safe proposition. Lose yourself in a world of endless fantasy and creativity where superheroes, monsters, magical creatures, and cartoon characters live and breathe alongside of us. The artwork is what really intrigued me on here. This is not going to be when I read it, a superhero book. It is not going to be a high fantasy book. This is an interesting concept because it's dealing with something inside with possibly different realities, different dimensions. So we get to see the artwork where Danny, our 14-year-old, he is being born. And basically, we find out that he and his mother are, she's having a difficult time. The father's not around, so she's raising him by himself. He has this really over imagination. And, that's what they're talking about. And he talks about it. It says, we're told that imagination exists with only in us. You see him too, right? Each of us was born with a gift. Where it comes from, well, that depends on what you choose to have faith in. A child's mind has the same number of neurons as an adult's, but the connections are shorter, making their brain doubly efficient. In fact, 98% of the preschoolers are considered creative geniuses, unlimited by their imagination. So what's interesting, they kind of go through people's imagination, and it talks a little bit about some of the greats, through time. They do talk about Mozart and Da Vinci and things like that, and what they're going to do. So the artwork, I think, is absolutely fantastic in this. And that's what really kind of drew this to me. She's played as kind of this nagging, maybe a little overbearing, but she's working, it seems like, multiple jobs trying to keep her and her son safe. She has a hard time finding things. She couldn't even find her keys. Wow, there's something in there. Of course, Danny knows right where the keys are. We find out that he winds up living with other, we'll call them people, that have been there since he's been around, but yet only he can see them. That's really neat because they actually go through it and it says, see, there's no one here. No more late night horror movies. This is getting ridiculous. She couldn't see them, but that didn't mean that they exist. Oh, they do, to me. Because he can see, everything. And they'll have whole conversations and everything that's going on. But this is the page that I found that was just really neat. And you can tell we're in his imagination now. So if we look at the style of art in the real world, everything is very dingy. It's gray tones and gray scales. And when it has the imagination, there's color within it. Now that we're in there, there's some vibrant color. So we actually get to see, you can tell what state of mind he's in, if he's in the quote-unquote real world or if he's in his imagination. So I think the use of color and art in this is really good. Imagination is a physical electrical record that exists imbued with all the attributes that we decide to give it sight, sound, shade, personality. These are the senses of reality that give our fantasies their form and character. And it goes through and it talks about, Nikola Tesla and but the different states of how matter is, and what happens. We get introduced to some of the characters that he knows in his life. And it's a very cool and exciting imagination that he has. But there's his imaginary world and the real world, and it looks like there's some crossover between the two, and he's trying to find out. Even when he goes and gets a book, the books are actually talking to him, and he winds up buying a book that's heavy reading. He winds up picking up a Bible, and that goes in, and you can see, he's got Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. There's Dracula. There's Zorro. These are all books that, quote unquote, talk to him. And it's just a really neat and interesting mind game. He winds up talking. They find out a little bit about his father. And, even while he's sitting there, medic, I need combat assistance. Does anybody have a staple gun or super glue? I've literally been torn apart here. Ask for duct tape, you idiot. You can see that there's a shark there. So this kid has such an imagination. It's kind of like a fractured mirror of a childhood, and he's trying to sort everything out. I think it's just really neat. This is very beautifully illustrated. It's extremely well written. These are more, it seems like more nostalgic tales. This is just different. And I think that's why I enjoy it so much. This is a very different story. You can see, and he's at home, everything's back in the gray. Mother was very snippy with him, and he's pulling up a medical report. And he's reading it, and then you can see like a fairy or a pixie. Have hope, Danny. And then the cool thing about it is it ends on the outside of the back cover. You can see the code, and there it is. There to be continued. So this is really neat. They didn't waste any space within this. I thought that was a very neat idea. This is just an example of what a really cool comic book should be. I think you guys are already going to tell I'm going to give it a really decent score. I'm really curious to see where this goes. It was something different, neat, unique, versus a lot of the same stuff that's been out there. And kudos for Image for, Simon putting it out through them. I am giving this one a 9.4 out of 10. That's on the CGC grade. I think this is absolutely worth running out and picking up issue number 2. When it comes out, I will be adding this to my pull list because I definitely am intrigued and I want to see where this story goes. So it did its job. I enjoyed all the characterization in it. I really thought the dialogue was good. The storyline was set up. The setting was solid. Everything about it was just very well done. I couldn't be happier for this book. And I know some of you had really wanted me. I've been behind in my full reviews just because of how busy I am with my project on Kor-Drath, The Reckoning. But I had to read this. I am glad I found time to do it. So, as always, leave your thoughts down below. Have you been picking this one up? Will you try this now? Let me know your thoughts. If you haven't already, give me the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Love to hear from you guys and get your thoughts on everything. We put out full reviews like this. I do quick flips of the new books each week. We do our Wednesday live stream where we always bring on a guest. A lot of times they're comic book artists or writers, sometimes inkers. But they're great to come in and have conversations with about new projects or things that they've worked on. And then we also do our movie reviews. So, you get a nerd's perspective on everything. Sometimes you agree with us, sometimes you don't, but that's why we love to do it. So as always, make sure you've hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to talking to you all real soon. Thank you.